In the last episode, Morgan learned about how the completion probability stat was developed. But how is a stat like this deployed into production? And how does it evolve over time? Well, let's find out. Could you describe the compute environment that you're using for the next-gen stats platform for us?
At its core, we are using Kubernetes as our main container orchestration framework. We have thousands of containers running on game day, over 200 distinct processors running, all within the Kubernetes environment. All of these different processors are written in either Java for business logic, Node for web applications, or Python for machine learning, inference, and preprocessing.
Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service, or EKS, is AWS's managed Kubernetes offering, meaning you get all of the power of Kubernetes without having to run the control plane yourself. EKS automatically handles cluster management, scaling, and security patching, while letting you focus on running your containerized workloads. That means you can deploy thousands of containers for tasks like real-time inference or data processing, scale them quickly during peak moments, and roll out updates safely, all while integrating with AWS services like CloudWatch, IAM, and auto-scaling.
Did you try with traditional EC2 instances and then migrate, or did you go straight to the containerized world?
Yeah, early in our history, we began running processes on EC2 instances. Being able to manage the resources on those instances became a chore, and we weren't exactly sure how much resources we were using. In some cases, we were over-provisioned. In other cases, we were running up to the limits of the EC2 instance itself.
So it sounds like a lot of that switch was because of scaling challenges that you had run into and management issues with the resources.
Yeah, our project was growing, and so a containerized environment really gave us the ability to maximize the utilization of our EC2 nodes. Additionally, because we weren't over-provisioned, this actually saved us a ton of money because we weren't launching the same number of EC2 instances.
Gotcha. So, you're going from, I've got a lot of static resources to being much more dynamic with your infrastructure.
That's correct, right. And so Kubernetes also gives us the ability to just on the fly, scale up the number of nodes that we need to be running on a game day. We just tell Kubernetes that we need 100 replicas of this process, and Kubernetes will take care of launching all of the nodes necessary to handle that many processes.
When you're running live processing during a game, you need infrastructure that can scale instantly to handle changes in demand. That's one of Kubernetes' biggest strengths. In a cluster, containers run inside of pods. When configured metrics like CPU or memory usage cross set thresholds, horizontal pod autoscaling automatically launches more pods to handle the load. If the cluster itself runs out of capacity, cluster autoscaling kicks in, adding new EC2 instances behind the scenes.
Here's a view into our Kubernetes environment. I'm just making sure that we are scaled up appropriately for the load that we anticipate for tonight's game.
Now, in such a dynamic environment, how do you handle deployments? Because there has to be changes to all of these applications, all these services. So when you have a new version of that, what does your deployment model look like?
Our CI/CD pipeline has gone through many changes over the years. We're currently using GitHub Actions to build all of our PRs and create container images. And all of these container images, every time we do a commit, are ready to be deployed the moment that the container is built. We are able to do deployments to our production environment live on a game day within minutes of us identifying a bug and performing a hotfix.
So you're doing deployments while the game is happening?
If necessary. That's not a situation we like to be in, but what Kubernetes does with the rolling restarts is we can do a deployment while not affecting our core processing pipeline and automatically be able to have the latest version of the code that we need in the environment in a timely manner.
So in a situation where you don't need a hotfix and things are not on fire currently, do you normally do your deployments in the off season? Is it between games? What does that look like?
We are deploying to production constantly. Obviously, during the off-season, we are doing a lot of our off-season development work. We're building new stats and we are doing these larger scale projects. But during the off-season, there's really no consideration about when we're deploying to prod. We feel that we can do a production deployment at any given time. During the season, we have confidence that if we have to deploy on a game day, as much as we don't want to, we will be in a good situation even if we have to.
Join us in our last episode as we go behind the scenes on game day and learn about how Next Gen Stats operates, end to end, from snap to stat.